As tyranny at the federal level becomes more and more out of hand, you might be looking for answers. How do you reclaim your liberties? How do you take stand against unconstitutional governmental edicts? How do you reverse the massive expansion of federal power? Well, the answer might be simpler than you realize. The hope for America just might be your local sheriff. As the chief law enforcement officer for your county, the local sheriff has the power, the authority, and the responsibility to resist tyranny and unconstitutional laws and actions. State sovereignty, as defended by the local constitutional sheriff, just might provide the answer to a federal government gone rogue. Our guest today, Sheriff Richard Mack, is an author, speaker, former sheriff of Graham County, Arizona, and in 1994, he was the first sheriff in the United States to challenge the constitutionality of the Brady Bill and ultimately won a landmark decision at the United States Supreme Court based on state sovereignty. Sheriff Mack has spoken at nearly 100 Tea Party rallies and other events across the country and is a frequent guest on nationwide TV and radio programs. And Sheriff Mack, thank you for joining us again on Living Wealthy Radio.
Well, that's all right. Thanks for having me. I appreciate being with you, Teresa. Thanks so much.
Oh, well, my pleasure. You know, so many recent things going on today regarding firearms and state sovereignty issues. So, Sheriff Mack, share with us a few examples of sheriffs that are enforcing or imposing their power in their local counties. We know about the sheriff who recently was acquitted in all places, Liberty County, Florida.
Yeah.
I think he was charged with misconduct, and they were trying to fire him from his job after he released a man that had been arrested for carrying a concealed firearm. And the funny thing is that he wasn't doing anything wrong.
No, he wasn't. And that's kind of going back to what we were talking about with all the regulations and policies that bureaucracies try to enforce. What happens is the real offense to me with Texas bureaucracies or Arizona bureaucracies or federal government bureaucracies, I don't care where they come from, they start to have employees who believe that their policies and regulations supersede the Bill of Rights, supersede the principles of freedom, supersede the principles as described in the Declaration of Independence. The pursuit of happiness that a citizen owns in this country is not superseded by regulatory authorities, whimsical policies and judgments. So that's the real offense going on in this country. And I don't care if it comes from Austin or Phoenix or Sacramento or Washington, D.C. They're all the same, and we have got to get bureaucrats out of the way so that we can once again become a free country. Now, the Sheriff Finch story is very indicative of this whole thing. It's a huge lesson and demonstration of what we're talking about. A man by the name of Floyd Parrish is just driving down the road and going home, doing nothing wrong. A deputy sheriff says, oh, well, he kind of swerved too far on the right on that windy road. He's on a very windy road. All he's doing is going home. He gets stopped by the deputy, and the citizen tells the deputy, I have a couple of guns in the car. One's on the front seat right here, and the other's in my pocket. At that time, the man still has not committed a crime because your car is like the extension of your home. You don't have to have a concealed carry permit to have a gun in your car or even in your pocket. So the deputy pulls him out and arrests him. Now that he's out in public, he doesn't have. He's supposed to have his concealed carry permit now.
Okay, so hang on one second. Let's just be clear. He's riding in his car. He's got his guns in his car. He gets pulled over. He tells the cop, just like he should, "Hey, I've got some guns."
Yeah.
And just for having the guns, the officer said, "Get out of the car. I'm arresting you."
Yeah, he shook him down and found the gun in his front pocket, and it was a real small gun. And you need to remember here, This man is not a prohibited felon. He does not have a criminal record. He's not about to commit a crime. He's not intending to commit a crime. He has not been a problem with police department or police in general. He's just a good, law-abiding citizen. He's an honest man, and he was honest with the cop. And this is where I have said concealed carry permits issued by the government, issued by the state, are double-edged swords. Yes, I have a right to do that, but why do I have to ask for a permit? Why am I subject to a permit? And if a permit can be granted, it can be taken away. Exactly. And why do we require permits and charge money to citizens to get these permits about that which is already guaranteed in the United States and state constitutions?
Well, licenses and permits are permission. When you go apply for a permit or a license, you're asking for permission. But if a greater law, if the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, has already granted me that right, I shouldn't have to ask anyone permission.
Correct.
To carry a gun.
And that's the whole thing. And so I'm against concealed carry permits. I went to get one myself once after I left the sheriff's office, and since then they've made a law that if you're retired law enforcement, as long as you keep up on your firearms training, you can carry a gun anywhere in the country. Well, I'm against that elitism. Why is it that I can and somebody else can't? So anyway, the gun laws in this country are stupid and unconstitutional and just inappropriate.
One other comment I'll add there is, all these members of Congress and judges and attorneys, even in jurisdictions where you're not allowed to carry concealed, they're allowed to carry concealed. So why is that? Why the double standard? Why is it such a bad idea for us to carry guns, but they're allowed to?
Well, the places where they have constitutional carry, where they do not require any permits, is Alaska, Vermont, Wyoming, and Arizona. How are the crime rates doing in those 4 states?
Quite low.
Well, they're lower, and they did not increase when that happened, Arizona being the most recent. Arizona's crime rate did not go up when they did that. When they got rid of the permits, because we used to have them here in Arizona, you used to have a permit. You used to have a permit. Well, when they got rid of the permits, crime didn't go up. So why isn't Texas doing the same thing? Why are we charging people, and why do we establish these bureaucracies to oversee this when, in fact, they're unnecessary, and there's proof that they're unnecessary and that they do not have anything to do with reducing crime?
What's the reasoning?
They want to keep the money coming in from the federal government, or, I don't know. I have heard that one before, that they're very concerned about being turned down for federal grants. For a sheriff to think that that's free money.
Well, Sheriff, thank you so much for sharing with us today. You've helped us understand that the sheriff is the highest governmental authority in his county. This isn't something that you've made up. The Supreme Court of the United States has sided with your position. Within our counties, the sheriff has more power than the governor of our states, even the president of the United States, which is...
Especially the president, yes.
I mean, that's just awesome to know this.
Yeah.
But we need your help for our sheriffs to understand this little-known authority and urge them to defend the people of their counties. We will have on the livingwealthyradio.com website links to your CSPOA. I hope I said that right. .com and your email. .org. Okay. Yeah. And your email. And I pray for the day that you do have at least 1,000 sheriffs who have taken the oath.
Absolutely.
To be a constitutional sheriff.
Well, thanks so much for having me. This is the topic that should be resonating all across the country because it is a solution. It is the only solution that I've seen that will really stop and put the federal government back in their place. Well,
thank you for all the work you do, and continue. Don't stop. And God bless you, and thank you for joining us again today on Living Wealthy Radio.